Hey everybody, welcome to Camel City Chat. I'm your host, John McPherson. I'm here with Lou Baldwin. Lou and I are members of the local Realtors Association together, and am I allowed to say friends?
Absolutely.
All right, I just want to make sure, Lou. All right, so this is our first episode, and we're still trying to learn exactly what the chat's going to be about, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. We're going to talk about real estate, obviously, since we're both realtors. And then I also want to talk about the people in Winston-Salem, what makes us the Camel City in a sense of things, if it's the people, if it's also, what's going on, restaurants, whatever. So every episode, as I have a guest, I want to start off with the three and ask questions of those, kind of let the people know who you are. And then, of course, as you very well know, we got a hot topic going right now with tearing down the hotel and stuff like that, and people want to know what's going on. So to start off with, the first thing is where are you from and how long in Winston?
Absolutely. But first of all, congratulations on the new podcast,
Thanks,
Camel
man.
City Chat. I think this is going to be exciting, and look forward to seeing all the episodes.
Well, I appreciate
hearing what's going on in our great city.
Well, it's something new. We did the radio show, as you were asking me before we went on live, 11 years and 4 months, and it seemed to have been something that I don't know if it ran its course or whatever, but I've got you lined up. The mayor's going to be on here in a couple weeks, and we're starting to get guests, and it seems to be easier to schedule more than the trip's not all the way over to Kernersville. So thank you for saying that. But I'm honored that you'll be the first guest on the show because I really do think that I know you. You got a lot to talk about. You do so much for Winston-Salem, and I want other people to know about it.
Well, and I'd also congratulate you on 11 years of real estate radio.
Well,
that
thanks.
was a great program in our community. I was a regular listener, as you know.
Yeah.
Honored to be on there as your guest a few times, but a lot of folks learned a lot. You entertained a lot of folks for 11 years. We learned a lot about real estate, so that's another congratulations for you.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. And so let's get to the questions, and then I get to give you back the accolades. How's that? So where are you from? Are you from Winston?
I was born in Winston-Salem, born in Baptist Hospital, 1964.
And see, people don't realize that Baptists used to have babies, and they got out of the baby business. Now they're back into the baby business.
Right,
Yeah.
and so just this past year, got back into that. But I was on the first wave back when babies were being born there, 1964. I live in Ardmore now, so I can look up and see the hospital and know that I haven't come very far in life. A couple blocks.
All right, so you've been here all your life.
Yes.
All right. So the second question, I know these are hard. What's your favorite restaurant in town?
That is a hard question, partly because part of my commercial real estate practice is working with restaurants.
Right.
And I'm real proud that we were very involved with a lot of the early Restaurant Row restaurants in downtown Winston-Salem and this whole chapter of downtown revitalization. So I'm a little reluctant to leave anybody out. But
you're not going to leave anybody out.
But
I know. It's hard to say.
But I will drop some of those that I'm very proud of. Helped Downtown Thai come downtown, Mellow Mushroom, Camino, 27101. Really loved working with Mike Rothman and bringing Skippies to downtown originally. And of course, that was just a great run. And we all miss Mike being downtown. The most recent restaurant I've been involved with was Cowboys Brazilian Steakhouse. And people are still discovering it, but they're a great steakhouse down in the Brazilian Steakhouse down in City Hall South, the Bryce Stewart building. So excited about that one. When I go out, I really love Alma. Down in Innovation. I love the Porch.
Right.
I think Milner's is an excellent restaurant. And we just signed a lease. We can break this news on Camel City Chat, if you will.
But I'm ready.
But we're putting a Mayberry restaurant on 4th Street in the former Tropical Smoothie space.
I was going to ask you about that because, see, you weren't going to get away from that question, and that's you're doing a little bit of where they like almost incubator sites where someone's left and then you're letting someone move in, and the Mayberries was kind of a tropical smoothie incubator site for a while.
So in that particular case, I'd been working with Mike Rankin, the owner of Mayberry, for a number of years, trying to find the right location for him and the right timing for him to come downtown. But the tropical smoothie space came available, and what we did was negotiate with that landlord to do a Mayberry pop-up.
Right.
And our original intent was to do it during the National Black Theater Festival.
Right.
And that went fantastic. And we asked if we could stay a little longer and extended that to about 2 months.
No, we don't want your money. Yeah, right, yeah.
And we were able to negotiate a long-term deal. So Mike's in there remodeling now, will be open maybe in a month or 6 weeks, and have something that's been a goal of mine for a long time, which was to bring Mayberry downtown because I think it's a Winston-Salem classic and great ice cream, great food, and we'll have it right there on 4th Street.
And it is. I mean, it's a great place. My dad loves to go to the one right around the corner. I thought you were gonna get to see my dad today. He actually left a little bit ago, but he was all he knew your dad and
Yes, I
so
always love it
yeah.
when your dad's with you and I get to chat with him.
Yep. So the pop ups were something that I know that you guys have been working on, and what a great, it's not a vacant space. We just heard Macy's is leaving the mall. What's going to happen there?
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's a vacant space. Is it going to be vacant? Is Baptist going to buy that too? I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But as brick and mortar changes, we got to be on top of that.
My first experience with pop-ups was really before the term pop-up came about, and it was also for the National Black Theater Festival, which we're just very fortunate to have that event in
Super
Winston-Salem
fortunate.
every
Yeah.
other year, and I believe it brings 60,000 people to town, 65,000 people to town for that. And it used to be in the early days before downtown revitalization took off that there really weren't a lot of things for the folks who came to town for the festival to go out and do. Limited number of restaurants, limited number of bars, limited retail and whatnot downtown. And so we didn't call it that then, but we started doing some pop-ups,
Right.
getting short-term temporary certificates of occupancy for a little restaurant, a little art gallery or whatnot to go onto 4th Street near the main hotels where the festival is based. Just so we'd have a little bit more for folks to see in Winston-Salem when they came here. And then it's been exciting every 2 years since then. More and more things have opened downtown, and I have to think that the folks that come for the festival and for other events in downtown Winston-Salem are pleased when they come to town and see that we do have a great variety of fun and exciting things to do and great restaurants downtown.
I think what I like is what's happened, because when you started with Baldwin was when I was graduating from high school. You're a couple years older than me.
Okay.
And, when we didn't go downtown, we had 2 stops. One was the adult store next to Camel City Pawn Shop, and the other was, let me finish this thought, folks, by the way. The other was the Rainbow Newsstand right there over there off of Summit Street. All right, Summit Street, before it moved to the other place,
Okay,
before it moved
right.
over. And, this was my family's business. We delivered books and magazines. Come 3:30, no one was downtown.
Right.
Now it's 3:30 in the morning, and there still may be some people getting to their cars. I mean, and I think people feel better, safer, and like you said, the people when they come to town now, there's something to do. I also feel like that there's been a change in an understanding of people that are coming to our town are coming to spend dollars. I think in the past, we haven't always appreciated people. It's like, homecomings for Wake Forest or Winston-Salem State, may have been like, oh, darn it, we got that. Now it's, what can we do to draw those people to us? And I do like the positive shift and change in our community.
I agree with you. I think it's been an exciting time that everyone in Winston-Salem's proud of our downtown, I
Right.
believe. And it's, really that center city and that common ground where people come together. I was very fortunate. I did grow up working downtown when it was empty streets.
Right.
That's where our office was when I would go to work at my dad's office starting when I was 12 years old at times. But I kind of looked around and dreamed that this could be something more. And really, when I got out of University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and came back and went to work there, not many commercial real estate brokers were working on downtown.
Correct.
And it ended up, I got involved civically with it, working with the predecessor of the Downtown Winston-Salem Partnership, the Downtown Winston-Salem Association, and Mayor Wood, Martha Wood at that time, kind of recognized that
Martha's
I
awesome.
was
Yeah.
working hard in the trenches, even though there weren't actually real estate deals to do down
Right.
there. And she formed the Downtown Development Corporation. And that was really the group that wrote the early strategic plans that have led to this era of downtown revitalization. And I was a real young guy, probably 15, 20 years younger than anybody else on that DDC board, but the mayor appointed me to it, and I got to learn a lot from those guys, got to be at the table and dream and plan, and it's really been probably the most rewarding thing of my career to have a little part in it and continue to see it grow downtown.
Yeah. And you just got to point to something else, but we got to ask the third question.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, so we've done the restaurants, we've done how long and where you're from. The third question is, what's your favorite thing to do in Winston?
Again, I'm going to have a hard time narrowing it down to one thing. There's a lot of things that I love to do, and one of them, I have always been a Wake Forest fan.
Right.
I'm a UNC graduate, and I'm a UNC fan, but I've been a season ticket holder for Wake Forest games for many, many years. So that's something I enjoy doing with a group of folks that go together for the games and usually go out to dinner before the games and that type of thing. And I've enjoyed that for a long, long time. My wife and I enjoy going to downtown and going to restaurants and that type of thing, as does our 14-year-old who's still in the home. He's involved in some neat activities that Winston-Salem's such a great arts community, and he loves going to different arts camps in town and ukulele lessons and kung fu lessons and that type of thing. I just think we have a great community where you can have a lot of different activities and things that you're involved in, and we enjoy our life here and think it's a great place to live.
I think one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I love is there's nothing better than like one of those creative margaritas at the porch looking at people running around in Bailey Park.
Down at Alma,
yeah,
rather.
Yeah, you're right. I said the porch, but no, at Alma.
Yeah,
same people. So it's not like I plugged the wrong person. No, Catherine and I love to go to Alma, try and sit outside, and then you can watch people over at the over at Bailey Park. And I just love Bailey Park, and I'll sometimes go, and I can never pronounce the name of the restaurant. I get my pizza with my daughter, and we'll go sit and play over there. Cogina
next to the Incendiary.
Yeah. And but it's good stuff. And who would have thought that now those warehouses are now where they're training the next doctors?
Absolutely amazing. Practically a blighted area of our town, you might even say at one point. And just an amazing center of activity and restaurants and new apartments and medical school and all of the above. So I agree. I get excited every time I go down to Innovation Quarter and Bailey Park.
Yeah, we've got what we're doing is we're doing 15-minute segments so that I've tried to cough here now for about 15 minutes now, but just want to take a break here in just a second. One of the things I want to talk about so that when we take our break, we can jump to this because I think it'd be kind of cool if we talked a little bit about the budget coming down, and then maybe we could just put your video in the middle so people can watch that real quick, and then we can come back and talk about some of these projects that you're working on. So the PCCI is the Peters Creek Community Initiative. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I studied a little bit. One of the biggest things going on in Winston besides building that road is the budget's coming down. So tell us about this and where that got started at in the next couple of minutes, and we'll watch the video and then come back and talk more about it.
All right, sounds good. The Shalom Project.
You got to tell me what that is, but go ahead and tell me the other first.
Is essentially the parent of Peters Creek Community Initiative.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to mention Shalom. Peters Creek Community Initiative is really a committee of the Shalom Project. But over 10 years ago, the Shalom Project recognized that the stretch of Peters Creek Parkway between downtown and Silas Creek Parkway had a lot to be desired. It wasn't a great area of our town. And we set out, I was invited to be part of that group over 10 years ago, and we set out kind of creating a plan for how could Peters Creek be better and making a strategy for that area of our town and going to work on that. Mm-hmm. And that's what ultimately led to our budget in deal.
Right. And so, I don't think you got a happier person than Rob King right now with the budget coming down right next to his brand new, showroom. It's going to be affordable housing, 70 some odd units in that?
Right.
Yeah.
So as we set out to revitalize Peters Creek, we really identified that both the Budget Inn and the old Triad Dodge next to it were kind of eyesores and
you can say blights. I'll say it for you.
Sources of crime and issues in our community. So we really started looking and saying what could be done with both of those properties.
Right.
Now, PCCI is essentially a shoestring organization. We didn't have funds to go out and buy those properties or whatnot, but that was still our dream that we could help make something happen there. Mm. You mentioned Rob King. He did a great thing and came along and bought that Triad Dodge and built a beautiful $5 million dealership right there. So
And then,
check
you go
that
right.
property
You go
off.
further down the street, and you've got look what modern Toyota did with their service department. Holy cow! It's
Hmm.
huge. It's beautiful. I mean, yeah, they're car dealerships, but that's income, that's jobs, that's all these things. I mean, you don't want to see that sprawling lot, but we all got to buy cars.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I'm real pleased with what Rob did, and I'm, he's a friend of mine too. So, hey, Rob.
Great.
And but I think that turned out real well. And as that's coming down next door, I'm just thinking, I bet you he's kind of happy.
Well, he's
So,
been very supportive
yeah,
and a good neighbor, and we appreciate that. And so we didn't really set out originally that affordable housing would
right,
be what we do. We set there really with the goal of let's get rid of the budget in.
right,
And we looked at how can we do that? What would bring about our ability to make that happen? And at the same time, it was becoming more and more known with some studies that the city had done about what an affordable housing crisis that we do have in our community, how many
amazing,
units
yeah,
short we are.
yep,
And so we started discussing at PCCI, could we use low income housing tax credits, for example, or other sources of funding a affordable housing development? Could that be the impetus that puts us over the top of finally being able to buy the budget in?
right,
And it ended up being so. And we had great cooperation from the city of Winston-Salem, who loaned us about half the purchase price for budget in.
right,
Forsyth County loaned us about half the purchase price for budget in.
mm-hmm,
We have an anonymous foundation that has given us a very large grant that has put it over the top and enabled us to close on the deal
right,
and to demolish the budget in, what's going on this week.
mm-hmm,
And then we're teaming with a for-profit developer along with the nonprofit Shalom Project PCCI to develop 72 units of affordable housing.
all right. Let's
It's
watch your video. Take a
okay.
quick break. Okay, so Stabler, we can do that, right? We're going to watch his video, and then we'll come back and do another segment talking about Shalom Project, because I don't know what it is, and you got to tell me. We also want to talk about more about PCCI and what you see with that affordable housing. And then we got to get in. You got a lot of charities that you support, so I want to talk about that and how you have kind of driven us through not only the real estate industry, but also, and I'm talking about the Winston-Salem Association, but also as an individual to really invest back in our community, okay? All right, we're going to take a quick break, but as we go to break, let's just watch this video, and then we'll come back.
Thanks, John.
All right.
This is Lou Baldwin of Baldwin Properties, and I'm coming to you today from the site of the former Budget Inn at 600 Peters Creek Parkway, the corner of Academy Street and Peters Creek Parkway in Winston-Salem. This is a very exciting day as the demolition of the Budget Inn has begun. This project started over 10 years ago with the Peters Creek Community Initiative working under the Shalom Project. The steering committee of the Peters Creek Community Initiative has worked to acquire the Budget Inn, to tear it down, and in its place, we'll be involved in developing 72 units of quality, attractive, affordable housing. So there's so many people to reach out and say thank you today, but the group at the PCCI Steering Committee and Shalom Project have worked incredibly hard to make this happen. We've had great collaboration from other leaders in our community, loans from the city of Winston-Salem and Forsyth County to help with the acquisition of this property. But it's a great day in Winston-Salem as the Budget Inn is coming down to make way for quality, affordable housing to be built in the near future.
So, I mean, what a video. You shot that yourself, I'm assuming.
I did.
Yeah, I know you. You and I are like, hey, everybody. And what's funny is what you can't see is and you're allowed to peek underneath this desk right now is like the equipment. So I can break all this stuff down and actually like take it to the convention this next week. So
Great.
I'm gonna take a couple maybe 3 mics, and then that way if I can pull Kelly aside or something, just say, hey, can we just do something real quick and shoot it? I've got a smaller ring light. Of course, you can see this one over here that's getting his chins off of me, not you, because you don't have one.
Excellent. And by the convention, you're referring to the North Carolina Realtors Convention, which will be in Charlotte.
In Charlotte, right? Celebrating Marin.
Yeah, it's actually not the convention. We should both be calling it the January meeting.
It's called Vision Quest. Aren't you proud of me? I actually knew that. But seeing Marin, seeing Kelly, of course, Marin is going to be inducted as our president for this year. Kelly Marks is our president next year, who's out of Greensboro, and both good people. Just if we can pull someone aside and just get some copy to put up there so people know what's going on with us as realtors.
That'll be great. And it also gives me an opportunity to give you a third congratulations of the podcast, which is that John is the incoming, he's actually the current, but his official installation will be here in a couple weeks, president of the Winston-Salem Regional Association of Realtors. So congratulations on that, John.
I appreciate it. And, you were just going nuts on this today.
You're going to do a great job, and we're very proud of you and excited about what you'll do. You're the first president to take over the organization with it having over 2,000 members at the beginning of your term of office. Angela, so that's very exciting.
Angela, did you guys with Brooke and Angela and you? I mean, you served a second term for our 100th. Brooke started the conversations at our Wilkes chapter. Of course, it came in last year. We're now in conversations with another association, and we've voted on it. They voted on it. Now it's gone to our membership, and so we'll have more news about that. And continuing that, we've got. You guys didn't tell me I could do this, but we have things called PAGs, and so we created an economic development PAG and have a chance that we might have Lawrence Yoon, who is the what is he? He's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors here in Winston. Talked to the mayor earlier today and told him about that. I said, Mayor, put it on your calendar. You're introducing him. He goes, I'll be there. So that's we gotta get everybody out to learn about that. Then the other thing was this coalition that we're trying to get other associations around us. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into running an association, and so you're on both those committees. So I appreciate everything you're doing. You're going to help with the inauguration. So I can't thank you enough. And again, we're going to get to talking about some of these. I can't believe all of the things that you do.
I'm honored to be part of all those things.
You're awesome.
Serve you this year. Well, and you're going to do a great job.
I signed my first thing today as president of the association, so that was kind of weird. So, I've had a meeting, and it's been an interesting one, So we had our first meeting, and then now I signed my first funding request today. So that was kind of cool. Haven't signed a check yet, but it was interesting. But no, let's go back to affordable housing. So the only curveball I'm going to throw you today, because I told you, as I tell anyone when they've been on the radio show, when they're on this, is I'm basically going to set a tee up and put a huge basketball on there and give you a 2x4 to hit with. I mean, you're not going to miss this. But the only curveball is, do we know a definition of affordable housing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And I'm glad because I've had many conversations with Paul Lowe, who is our senator, who I think is going to be at inaugural.
Great.
Yeah, so I think he's going to bring his wife, and so we're excited about that. I think Kyle Hall's coming. James Taylor may be coming. Not the singer, our city council member. The mayor's not going to be able to be there. He has to be in D.C., big wig in it. But what is affordable housing as a definition? Because I don't think people understand it's a higher number than you think it is when you come to paying rent.
So how affordable housing is really defined as that folks earning 30 to 80% of median income in the area should only have to spend 30% of their income on housing.
Okay.
So housing, which would be available to someone making between 30% and 80% of the median income.
Right.
And for them to only spend 30%, that would be affordable housing.
All right,
so you hear the term workforce housing.
I went to app, so you got to give me a little bit better math on that. So do we know what the median income is?
45,000, and this is based on the median income is based on number of family members and that type of thing.
So we're saying 45,000. So I can do the math there. So 30% would be about $13,500
a year.
Yeah, up
Um,
to
so
okay, yeah,
you're going to
so
drag
yeah,
us
up
into
to
the
about $30,000.
so, and
Yeah.
then using 30% of your income on your housing,
So
right?
$9,000 divided by 12 is going to be the high end of that range.
And you would include if you had utilities and
Right.
those things as part of your housing costs. So in the residential sales
Right.
business, when y'all are qualifying folks for a loan, you're looking at the same type thing. What percentage of their income
No. My
did
lender's
they?
looking at
The
the same
lender
thing.
is
I don't.
looking at
No. I just help you
that
find
for
the
you.
place. But yeah,
So
so
we're trying to develop housing that folks basically you would say that folks who earn between 30 and 80% of median income can afford to live in. That's affordable housing.
all right. So then here's my okay. So you have 72 units. Is that what we're
72
looking at?
units,
All right.
right?
So 72 units. When I do the math in my head, we're talking about about $9,000 is what I have to spend in a year on utilities and rent on the high end
Right.
based on the median income.
Right. Right.
So it is right around what Lowe said to me, which is somewhere around $600, $700.
So what that means as a community is that it's very difficult to develop affordable housing because the economics,
Extremely
and
difficult.
especially with today's construction costs, there's
Right.
a lot of demand for general contractors and for construction, and so it's very expensive to develop housing these days, and it's not economically viable to develop affordable housing in a conventional way.
Well,
So you have to have other funds like low-income housing tax credits, grants, et cetera, to make this happen.
So I mean, you look at some place like is it Portland, Oregon that I'm thinking of, or isn't it Portland that did it, or somewhere out there in California where they basically said we're not issuing any more single family residential permits.
There have been a couple different jurisdictions, and Oregon is one of them.
Right.
That said they're basically eliminating single-family zoning,
Right.
and part of that is a housing affordability issue.
Right.
It's not quite what it sounds like. Basically, they're saying that duplexes, triplexes that are built proportionate to lots
Mm-hmm.
should be able to still be built in single-family neighborhoods. Is what most of those things
Right.
equate to.
You're just concentrating the density.
Correct.
Marcia Barney, has that's our friend out in Davie County. I went to one of those. I think you were at that. That was my first time that I went to. It was kind of a symposium there at the board office, and we talked about some things. And Davie has an interesting way of looking at it. They're talking about maybe doing some storefronts with kind of some of the stuff that's popped up downtown, like on Second Street, or on where the old modern. Chevrolet used to be, where you've got some work stuff and all that. So I mean, it seems that municipalities are understanding it. I know that our mayor in Winston-Salem is understanding it, and as we look across, both being involved in local, state, and national realtor organization, we're understanding it as though those organizations are attacking it as well too. But I mean, the onus has to come back on not only the person building it, but the city's having to make some concessions as well too, like parking and things like that, and also tax credits.
There's a lot of different methods around the country to try to attack this problem, but at the end of the day, this has been very challenging to develop the 72 units.
I don't see how you can do it.
And the shortage, according to different studies that have been commissioned by the city, is probably that over the next 10 years, we're in the 8 to 10,000 units of
Right.
affordable housing that need to be developed. Then we're also getting into the workforce housing and the roundtable with Davie County that
Right.
you and I talked about, and that I moderated that,
Right.
and we talked to the different leaders there. And their issue is if a company wants to move to town and create X number of jobs,
Right.
where are the folks going to live? Is anybody building, even for home ownership, the product that's needed to take care of that employers' employees that they would hire in the area? And so that's a whole other price point. Workforce housing is generally considered to be folks who are from 80% of median income to 120% of median income.
Right.
And I consider that a little more, I separate affordable housing and housing affordability.
Right.
And something as realtors and as our advocacy efforts that we're interested in both of those things. How
Right.
can we keep it affordable so that working people in America can own their own home?
Well, I mean, you look. We just had the holidays. Everybody loves to go to McAdenville. You go to McAdenville, that's all the mill houses that was built for that area. You come into Winston-Salem, you've got the Reynolda House, then you've got Buena Vista that was obviously the executives, but then you go over on the south side and you've got the people that worked at the Stroh's plant or that worked for Reynolds, and it was housing was built for housing for the employees and things like that.
Hanestown, right across the street here.
Right. I mean, thank you. Obviously all of these things were when you had those major manufacturers, they wanted the employees to be there. The major manufacturers can't do that like they used to. And so someone's got to pick up the slack, and it's got to be the municipalities and the counties and things like that to bring that workforce here. I mean, how lucky is Davie County for that Ashley Furniture out there? I mean, it's huge, and what a big shot in the arm there for them. We've got Kernersville now with different things from Amazon to the VA, we talked earlier about this. Let's transition to this. We talked earlier about the mayor, Martha Wood, great lady, who appointed you and saw that vision. Now let's talk about the current mayor.
Yes.
So you're on tourism now. Congratulations on being appointed to tourism for the county. And I'm assuming that the mayor or Dudley or somebody appointed who appointed you to that.
My appointment was from the Forsyth County Commissioners.
Okay, so
the Forsyth County Tourism Development Authority has 4 appointments from the county and 4 from the city.
Okay.
And I believe the other one comes from the authority itself or something like that.
And so, what is that? Tell us what you're going to be doing with that, because, I mean, tourism's huge to us.
I'm brand new, so I haven't had my first meeting yet, but I did have a good meeting with Rich Geiger, the president of Visit Winston-Salem, as it's also known, but the Forsyth County Tourism Development Authority. And the main mission there is marketing Winston-Salem as a destination for tourists to come to, for conferences and conventions to come to. You and I have been to a couple good ones when we were able to help bring our organization here. Yeah. And that's the goal and the mission of the TDA is to make this an attractive place for people to visit.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think you'll be awesome on that. Rich is such a nice guy. Of course, his wife's involved with the State Employees Credit Union CQ House, and is their development director. 2 people that really care about not only our town but the whole area around, and so that's cool. I hope you enjoy that.
Well, I'm excited about it. First meeting will be next week, so you won't be seeing me in Charlotte until later on Wednesday, and I'll be glad to keep you informed as we go.
Please let me know.
But we do have a great city to visit, and we've got a lot of great new hotels that have been built in recent years or are coming out of the ground now. And so we need to make sure that we're generating those bodies to stay in that hotel and to share our great community with.
Right,
TDA is funded by that hotel tax that people pay when they come to town.
Okay.
So,
yeah, it's a great organization. I mean, I've watched it grow and shrink and grow and shrink, and I think Rich is the right person for the job on that now.
He's been here 10 years, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, so where are we going? I mean, in the sense of Winston-Salem and all the things that you've done, where do you see us going next? I mean, because we just got a great place to live, and I'd like to know what your thoughts are as we, do the budget and you're doing that. I mean, and you're getting involved in tourism stuff. Where do you see Winston-Salem going?
I really, you may have heard Don Flo speak sometimes about a goal of being the best community our size in America.
Right.
And I think a lot of the mayor's goals tie in with that as well. But when you look at issues where we could do better, poverty, upward mobilization, where we don't go very high in rankings and that of that nature, how can we be better in the areas where we are not as strong? How can we continue to emphasize that we're a city of arts and innovation and make sure we're living up to that title, continuing to grow our arts, to grow tourism, to see our arts, to be a city with a great quality of life? You and I hear it all the time when we talk to people. They're like, well, I don't want to live in Charlotte. That's why I live in Winston-Salem. But we all want it to be the best Winston-Salem that it can be. And I think a lot of the motivation and frankly, the leverage for funding and whatnot of early downtown revitalization was, how do you compete for employees that have a choice of living in Raleigh or Charlotte or Winston-Salem? And I think we've really made huge strides in that, where young people who could come to work for one of our major employers can look at our downtown and say, wow, they really got something going on in Winston-Salem. This
Mhm.
is a neat community now. There are things to do. There are great things at Bailey Park. There are 8 breweries. We have cool hotels like the Cardinal Kempton and the Indigo, and things to do. And I think that just being the best Winston-Salem we can be is a track that we're on, and that we have challenges like every community, and that we continue to work hard to get past those.
Mhm. We got about 3 or 4 minutes left, so now it's your time. All right, so let's talk about you. I mean, I was blown away, and I have to pull it up on here because it's amazing to me the amount of different things that have happened to you recently. You what was it? You're appointed to the commission, as we said. What the Winston-Salem Commercial Practitioner of the Year, the Bob Hoffman Award. You just recently got that. Bethesda Center. So tell us about Bethesda Center, and I also want to touch a little bit on. Have you you've been on the board of the of Habitat the most over the as it's been here? You've been on it the longest period of time. So tell us about those two great organizations. Real quick.
Okay. The Bethesda Center, I've not really directly been involved on committees or the board of the Bethesda Center, but I have been very involved in the issue of homelessness in our community.
Right.
Going back to maybe 2005, Mayor Joines created a blue ribbon panel to write a 10-year plan
Right.
to end chronic homelessness, and appointed me to that, and then to that 10-year plan commission. And we came up with that this community would believe in housing first.
Right.
Let's get folks off the street and into housing, and then we can help them with wraparound services, education, and other ways to get a job and to get on their feet. And so, both civically and through my company, we adopted policies to help homeless folks get into housing. And that's been rewarding, and that's been successful in our community. So what you're speaking of is that
Yeah.
the Bethesda Center has
You
been
won the
kind
Heroes
to
for
me.
the Homeless Award. It hasn't really been it hasn't been just a casual involvement. You're downplaying it a little bit.
Well, they've been kind to me in
Well,
recognizing
you've done some awesome work with
their
them.
efforts. Thank you, John.
Yes, that's so cool that you did that. And then, so what about Habitat? I know you've been involved in
Habitat's a great organization in our community that's been here. This is the 35th year of Habitat in our community, and I got involved in it through the Winston-Salem Regional Association of Realtors, starting to sponsor Habitat houses.
Right.
And back in a certain period, I think we built about 6 in a row, usually teaming with the Home Builder Association. At one point, when Senator Burr was in Congress, he co-sponsored a house with the Realtors, and that's how I got exposed to Habitat, but really fell in love with the mission and with the work and with the people there. And so, yes, I am the longest serving board member during those 35 years that we've had Habitat. I think maybe 16 or 17 of those years I've been on the
Crazy.
board, and I've had the honor to serve as president, and have enjoyed that, and have just had some great experiences with it. Like I say, building a house with a United States congressman, and being friends with Jimmy Johnson, who a lot of things over at Habitat are named after these
Right.
days, a great Home Builder Association president
Yep.
who was very involved in Habitat. I think about 2 years ago, I got to meet with President Ellen Sirleaf of Liberia,
Right.
with Mike Campbell, the CEO, and I of Habitat, meeting with her to talk about how she could start a Habitat chapter in Liberia. Got to meet Millard Fuller,
Wow.
the founder of Habitat, and Brooke Burr and I were his host for a couple days of him coming to Winston-Salem to visit our chapter and
Okay.
whatnot. So it's been a neat experience, and the Habitat chapter in 2019 passed 500 houses
Right.
built and 500 families served, helping them to achieve home ownership and stabilize their family and reach that goal. So that was an exciting milestone as well.
All right. I want to show your website. So this is how people can get in touch with you, obviously. And I was able to read a little bit more about kind of your accomplishments on your website, which is great that you have it there so people understand how involved you are. As I told you earlier, I mean, one of the things that my favorite quote is no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I know you know a lot based on that. So this is your here's your contact information. Best way to get you guys is baldwinco.com. And what's your number? 336?
817-6665 is my cell phone number, and
All right, well,
always welcome folks to
all right.
call or text.
All right, cool. So there you go. So you can get in touch with Lou there. We'll put that up on the screen. But a couple more things before we go. I really enjoy when you and I can get together, and obviously here it's a little bit different. There's a camera, but when I enjoy that we can sit down and talk about what's going on. I also enjoy the fact that you do reach out and you're involved in so many of these organizations. I think today it has been enlightening to me because I've learned a little bit more about these things like the Shalom Project. I've also learned about your involvement and how you've been in it. But how do people get more involved in our city? Because I know that when people ask me about you, one of my favorite things to say is Lou has turned around and pulled me up. And I appreciate that because I'm in the position I'm in because you've turned around and pulled me up. You've grabbed my hand, you pulled me up, you told me to do this, you've told me to make sure I do this. And so I have in turn, through the association, have found some newer people that really weren't involved and followed your example and those of some of the people that I've met across the state and tried to turn around and lift them up. So to the people that are listening to this or watching this, how do we grab them and pull them up and get them more involved in our community?
Well, it's very personal, as you say, and as you know, I had some great mentors who mentored me and helped me to become involved and helped me to understand things in our community. And I think we have an obligation to pass that on and to reach out to others. I know with this podcast, you're going to do a great service about telling folks a lot about what's going on and the ways to become involved. Not that it's a secret to anybody, but you just got to continue to promote Jeff Smith and Smitty's Community
Right.
Notes as being an amazing way to know what's going on in our community and to touch base with it.
Right.
Reach out to these organizations. If there's something that appeals to you, pick up the phone and call somebody who's involved. And if you don't know someone involved, call over to Habitat for Humanity. Ask to speak to Mike Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
These organizations all are looking for more good people to help them. And it can be from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. So whatever your gifts are, whatever your interests are, there's definitely room in this community for you to make a difference. Mm-hmm. And I love at Habitat, when I first got involved, I said, this is the one thing I'm not going to be on a committee. I'm going to swing a hammer.
Right.
Well, and then you get invited to be on a committee and it's gone from there. But the people who are out there swinging the hammer or carrying the vinyl siding across the lot are really the backbone of Habitat. Well, and the Habitat homeowners that are putting in their 500 hours of sweat equity are the backbone of Habitat.
It's interesting to me because we were involved in a couple houses and it's everybody there. I mean, it's like you can't tell who's doing what. You can have the poorest person handing nails to the richest person or vice versa. No one knows what anyone does. Mm-hmm. They just know that they have a faith. They know that they care about people and that they're there to make someone have a home. You
were talking about your quote there. I love John F. Kennedy, I believe, said one person can make a difference and everyone should try.
Yeah.
And I think that's
so there are two things that I want to end with. One was, what's up with the presidents, Lou? So I love that. I mean, you love the presidents, and you've got pictures with how many now?
I don't know about pictures. Probably just with George W. Bush, but
right.
I do enjoy history and
right.
studying the presidents. And I think what you're referring to is that over the last year or so, I've been reading presidential biographies.
Right. Have you read Truman yet?
Yes.
Right, that's my favorite.
The McCullough Truman book is excellent. And listening to some podcasts. Right. So I've listened to a podcast on at least every president.
Right.
And in recent times, gone to the Kennedy Museum in Boston and the LBJ Museum down in Austin, Texas.
Right.
And I've been to Reagan and Nixon in California. And I have a goal of going to all of them. But yeah, I think it's a great way to understand our country and our history and where we've been and hopefully learn something about where we're going from that. We have a great country. We always have challenges like we do today. We always have. That's one of my takeaways from reading 20 biographies.
Right.
It seems, unbelievable what's going on today to different people. But wow, we've always had big issues and big things on the table.
And some of the stuff is way worse then than it is now on some things too. So what about, all right, so I've been to, who is it in Kansas? I'm trying to think of who it was in Kansas. So I've been to Truman's, right? But that's in Kansas City, Missouri. But I'm trying to think of who the other one was. They just named the airport after him. And then I was down in Atlanta and went to Carter's, but I didn't go to the Kennedy one when we were in Boston, and you kept telling me that's a great
excellent
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the last thing. So if I were to say to you, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear," you can do the whole poem, can't you?
My father was a little well known for enjoying reciting Paul Revere's Ride.
Yep.
So I don't really have it all memorized, I don't think. But when we were in Boston, I did go out to the, is that the Old North Church?
Yeah, remember? And you guys went on, and I actually got the tour, and then it turned out no one else showed up. So I'm by myself up there, and they're ringing bells. And so I actually bought the book, brought it back, and read it to my daughter. So that was a big thing. And, of course, last time you saw her, I'm like, this is the guy. And you started a little bit of it. So.
Well, I enjoy that we're getting to travel together some in these realtor leadership positions, and I look forward to more of that.
Yeah, me too. All right, so I think that's it. I think we've said enough, don't you?
I've really enjoyed it.
I've truly appreciated it. And I can't thank you for everything you've done. I mean, you've been state president of the Realtors. You've been 2 times here in Winston. Just awards upon awards and accolades because you care, and I do appreciate that. And I want to say thank you. I'm honored that you'd be our first guest, and we've given contact information for you. We've shown some stuff, shown the videos, but of course, if you want to get in touch with Lou, simply you can give him a call again. You give the cell again,
336-817-6665. L. Baldwin at baldwinco.com.
All right. Well, with that.
Congratulations, John.
Thanks.
This is going to be a great series of podcasts that you're going to have here. Appreciate all you do in our community.
Well, I really appreciate it. And we will see you next time on The Chat.